Been asked in my messenger about pricing services, so I thought I'd make a video about how you can get a gauge for the type of prices that you should be charging as a freelancer. Now, as I've shared on here before, I started on a really low rate, which I actually don't recommend. My rate was far too low and it was like below minimum wage. If you haven't got any portfolio and no experience, then I would consider the low rate, as I did, and I think I was like writing blogs for like $10, so it was way under minimum wage. If you've got a portfolio experience, whether you've worked, like maybe you've worked in an agency and now you want to go freelance, then you probably don't need to start so low. But what you do need to do is prove your expertise in order to be charged the rate that you want. There are a few ways that you can work out how to charge an hourly rate. So the first way would be to do some research. Go and find like consultants or people offering the services that you want to offer, and then see what they're charging. Like, I would write them all down, look at what like kind of like the average price is, and then consider shooting for that price. The second way to do it is to think about what you're being paid now. So if you're in an agency, you're going to be paid a wage, obviously, and you want to be at least matching the salary that you're earning per month for the job that you're doing. Now, it's worth remembering here that if you work for an agency, for example, that agency is putting a fee on top of what they pay you, right? So the hourly rate that you're being paid is actually a lower rate than what the service is worth, because, as I said, the agency, for example, or your boss, whatever, is going to be putting on a percentage, right? Assuming that you're going to be offering the same standard of service, so if you're like a senior in an agency or something like this, you should be able to offer the standard of service that's being offered by the agency. You can make sure that your salary is covered. I actually think that like covering your salary is quite a nice place. It's a nice place to start for your first few clients, because you're going to feel more confident because you know that you can get paid that because you've been paid it before, so you shouldn't be too scared to ask for it. And then you can build up from there. And I would expect if you're starting on the salary that you've got working in-house, you're probably going to be able to like double that in a short time, to be honest. And the third way to figure out how much you should charge your client is to think about value. So this becomes more important as you get more like developed in your freelancing career, but you don't always want to be working for an hourly rate, really, because what will happen is you'll get more efficient, you'll get better at what you do, which means you get faster, which means you would end up penalising yourself for being good. So the faster you get, the less you get paid if you're on an hourly rate. You want to stop thinking an hourly and think instead about project rates. Now, project rates consider the value to the client. So if the client is, for example, paying you, I don't know, let's say £2,000 for a project, but when you look at the deliverables and what revenue that's going to make them, if they're going to make like 100,000 off it, then you're being paid a really low rate, right? So you want to increase your rates based on the value to the client because you're making them money. So by doing that service, you kind of get like a share of that, if you like. I think pricing is a funny thing because it's quite an emotional thing, it's quite a spiritual thing. It's not just about money and cash. When you can make the connection between money being more than just cash, the magic really starts to happen, I think. Obviously, we all want to earn money. It helps us live a good life and everything, but there's so much more that plays into it. Like, you have to genuinely feel like you're worth that money in order to be able to ask for it in a way that the client agrees that you're worth it and is willing to pay for it, for example. And you also need to know about what you're delivering and how to explain that and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I hope that helps. My only final thought on money would be you want to set yourself up for success with this kind of thing. And what I mean by that is you don't want to be in a position where you've got this lack mindset where you're frightened that you're not getting enough or that you really need to make an X amount in order to live, otherwise you're screwed. You don't want to be doing that because it just adds stress to the freelancing process, which this should be fun and it should be exciting. And you can avoid that by saving enough money for 3 months of expenses, so that if you were to lose all your clients overnight, you would have 3 months to find new ones. That's going to help a little bit. keeping a job, for example, is helpful. So I would not recommend jumping into freelancing. I'd keep my job for 3-6 months, whatever, and kind of like transition it over slowly. That is hard work at the beginning. That's what I did. I'm glad that I did. So it was like a real grind for about 12 weeks because I was like working 2 full-time jobs, basically one part-time job and kind of like a full-time job in freelancing. But it was so worth it. So yeah, a lot goes into pricing, but hopefully this is going to give you some food for thought. And yeah, would love to hear how you get on if you do start pricing jobs. Yeah, good luck.